Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Miss, and today I'm actually going to be discussing the card VFD, so True King of all Calamities, but I'm always going to be calling it VFD. In case you were wondering what VFD stands for, it's pretty much Vanisher, Fathomer, Disaster. This was the name of the card in the OCG, I mean for forever, even for now, and of course in the TCG we're just used to calling it like that, so this is why you're pretty much always going to see people calling the card VFD and not Calamities or Chlamydia or whatever. But yeah, before you start, friendly reminder to like and subscribe, because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And yet, let's jump right into it. Unless you've been like living under a rock or something, you wouldn't know that VFD is a rank 9 monster with pretty sure 3000 attack and defense, and it can use an effect during either player's turn to pretty much transform the attribute to every monster on the field to a certain attribute that you actually choose, which can be beneficial for you in case you want to transform your monsters into water, so you can pretty much turn like a garbage rank 4 into Bahamut Shark and then summon Toad, or you can actually say, oh, all of my monsters are Earth now, so if you have, I don't know, like Overaptor plus Durac Aolo, you can make Natura Beast. I'm saying this because this was the first usage that VFD really had, and also against your opponent, well, it is actually going to matter because of the other passive effect that it has, and pretty much when you use this effect, your opponent cannot activate effects in their possession that match the attribute, but since any monster that they summon become that attribute, it's kind of like a skill drain on Crag, but even better because they can't even attempt to do anything, so that's just definitely a huge problem, and this is a card that is being played in virtual worlds right now, and I feel like you have to worry about so much more than VFD because they also end their turn with Virtual World Gate Chooch, which is a continuous trap card that allows you to shuffle back to your banished Virtual Worlds card into the deck, and then pop a card on the field during either player's turn. Now, the really annoying thing about this is that it pops a card on the field, not necessarily on your opponent's field, so they can actually pop your own VFD, and the reason why this matters is because if you, let's say, go Forbidden Chalice or Forbidden Job, send like a monster to try to negate VFD, they can actually just chain the Chooch to destroy themselves, and VFD will still resolve. So because of that, VFD can actually definitely play through cards like Infinite, Forbidden Chalice, etc. However, it can't really play through Gamma too well unless you actually hold on, like, you know, you wait until the opponent summons a monster, but then if you do that, then you enter main phase 1 and you start losing to Kaijus and also 3 tactical talents in case the opponent actually let it go through, and then you can use the either draw 2 or take the VFD and then link it off with it, so that can actually be kind of dangerous. Most people actually shotgun VFD on standby, and they also call light because Ben 10 is a card that is light attribute that triggers in the graveyard. If the opponent actually calls dark, well, Ben 10 will actually still be able to trigger, and you know, you will be able to use like other light effects in your hand, so that's kind of dangerous. Now, there are definitely ways to actually stop this card from even hitting the field in the first place, or ways to deal with this card once it is on the field. So first of all, there is Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries on VFD if you're really scared of them just summoning it. However, there is an issue where if you use this against Virtual Worlds, they can actually recycle back VFD once, you know, Nyan Nyan is actually banished. So you're kind of playing with fire. Do you really want like a consistent way to stop VFD, or you kind of want to, you know, go for a 50-50 shot? Okay, yeah, this hand can actually play through VFD, this hand can't. I don't know, I would not really take the gamble. Another really good way of stopping VFD from even hitting the field in the first place would be Artifact Lancia, because the opponent just cannot banish cards whatsoever, so it's really hard for them to get access to all those level 9 monsters because they cannot adjust the level of a monster with Virtual World Gate Chooch, they cannot search with the graveyard effect of King Long, they can't get any cards in the banished, so their Chooch will never be able to pop a card during your turn, you know, during their opponent's turn, so your turn basically, and that's pretty much going to be an uphill battle for them. And this is kind of something that I actually explained, I believe, like yesterday or the day before, something like that. A hand trap, I guess, that isn't really that good would be No Material, and the reason why I don't really like this hand trap too much is the fact that if you use this, let's say, on a level 9 synchro monster, or just a level 9 monster, whatever, you know, they had 2 level 9s before, right? So they still have one that can be used as a material, so all they really need to still make VFD is summon any level 6 virtual world, and then, you know, upgrade its level to level 9, and then they still make VFD as if nothing ever happened. So I'm also not a really big fan. When I was actually testing with Virtual World myself, it was really easy for me personally to end my turn with at least 3 level 9 monster access. Not necessarily 3 level 9s on the field, but let's just say sometimes I had the resources to make more than just a VFD, and then I would just wait. Okay, do you have Nibiru? Okay, you don't. Okay, well, whatever. I'm just gonna pass like this, and just in case they had the Nibiru, I would have the resources to actually come back from that. Speaking of which, Nibiru is also a pretty interesting card. Now, what I would personally do is wait until they summon VFD instead of just, okay, yeah, you have 2 level 9s monsters on the field, I'll Nibiru right now, because at least you're getting a Nibiru out of their extra deck. So in like extreme scenarios, in case they're only playing one VFD, they get heavily punished on that, and they might actually kick themselves. This is definitely like a downhill situation for them. They lost their best interruption, and they probably just have no ways to recover. We're definitely not done with the hand traps that can beat VFD, because there is one that is actually main decked in Drytrons, and that is Herald of Orange Light. So pretty much at any point during either player's turn, you can pitch Herald with alongside, I believe, what? Light Fairy in your hand, and then negate any monster effects that's happening. You can even control monsters while doing that, so it's just, I guess, better Gamma. It's just a more versatile, flexible Gamma, but that's pretty much all there is to it. Gamma in Drytron could definitely be dangerous, because if you Gamma on your own turn, well, if you actually play after that, you can't really summon any Drytrons, because unfortunately, Driver is a card that can be normal summoned or set, so, you know, it kind of conflicts with the Drytron's side effects, or in a way, because the Drytrons actually say the turn you activate this effect, and not really until the rest of the turn after you summon that Drytron, you can't do blah blah blah, so yeah, definitely watch out for that. Unfortunately, that's kind of it for the hand traps that can beat VFD, but there are definitely some other ways of kind of dealing with VFD once it is on the field, and the first one would actually be Forbidden Droplet, discard a trap card, and the reason for that is because they cannot chain the Chooch to negate, to destroy their own VFD, so obviously you'll do this play, though, so the Forbidden Droplet, once they use the effect of VFD, so pretty much guaranteed that they can't really protect themselves like that unless they have a chainable spell card, or I guess a chainable monster effect that I can't really think about. But obviously, if you have like other spells and monsters in the hand, you can just pitch like all three and you'll pretty much be 100% safe. Dark Ruler doesn't really work that well because they can still, you know, chain the trap card and then chain VFD to their own trap card activation. That's one way to play through VFD, through Dark Ruler. Sorry, oh my god, what's going on with me? And besides, if you're Dark Rulering, you're probably doing it on main phase 1, well, definitely, and by that time you're probably under VFD anyway, so it doesn't really matter. One relatively interesting trend that has been going on, actually, not only with VFD, but also with a card that was really annoying back in the days, which is Rongo, and that way to out Xyz monsters that are pretty much just invincible is actually Xyz Encore, and the reason for that is because the opponent simply cannot respond with cards or effects whatsoever. So it's not just like Forbidden Drop, it's only one card of type per card that you send, it's just you can't do anything whatsoever. So if you do this on draw phase specifically, because you have turn player priority, your opponent won't be able to just chain VFD or just do it like as soon as you start your turn, but you really have to specify that you're using this on draw phase, because if you're using this on standby phase, they might just say, oh no, wait, hold on, end of draw phase VFD, and at this point it's too late if you chain Xyz Encore. The effect is still resolving. All you're doing is just putting back VFD in the extra deck and summoning back the materials, and that's it, that's all. But you don't really want that. Your real goal is preventing the VFD from even hurting you in the first place, so for that you really gotta remember that you gotta use this card at the very beginning of your draw phase, and also I'm pretty sure it will revive back their materials, but you can kind of deal with that. Last but definitely not least, it's not really a way to deal with VFD that well, but it's something that you can remember, and also, to be fair, there might actually be a way of clearing VFD if your opponent isn't careful. Let's just say they have a dark monster on the field, like, I mean, VFD is already a dark, but with another dark monster, or if you had a dark monster yourself, during the beginning of the draw phase, you can super poly right away for Mud Dragon of the Swamp, so that would make, you know, like 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types, because I'm pretty sure you're not gonna have like another dark Wyrm, but unfortunately, virtual worlds don't really end with other dark monsters on the field, so they can play through super poly as long as they only end on VFD pass, and because of that, you might have to worry about more things. But another drawback of VFD is that it transforms that's a drawback that's actually part of its good effect, but it transforms every monster's attribute, so you can kind of have a bit more flexibility with your super poly, and as long as there's 2 monsters on the field, you're always going to be able to make Mud Dragon of a Swamp basically, so you can clear that VFD, you can survive a little bit because that's probably what you're the most scared about, and if you have trap cards, well, your opponent might actually not be able to have like an aggressive follow-up. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. I don't know if you guys have any other different strategies to clear VFD, but if you do, definitely let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.